Flashbang is arguably one of the best and most fun perks to use in Dead by Daylight, but the reason this perk is not as popular as other meta perks is simply because it is one of the most complex perks that the game has ever seen. So, in this video we'll be going about the arming time, the basic save, the angle and range, sound, the more advanced save, use and chase, secret use, and loadouts you can use. Now, let's start with the easiest part, which is making it. To get the perk, you need 50% progress of a generator. Now, the most important part to remember about this is the fact that it is percentage based, not how long you have been doing a generator. Basically what this means is that if you use a gen efficient perk or any type of toolbox, the bar will be faster, and if the progress bar is red, you get the flashbang slower. So you should know the basics about the item itself. It is one time use and you make a noise when you drop it. Alright, let's get to the basic saves first. Alright, the easiest and safest way to know when to drop the flashbang is when the survivor that is getting picked up makes a grunt noise. Now for the other saves, we'll get to them later, but let's get to a very important part of the flashbang. The most important part, in my opinion, is the blind angles and where you can blind. Just a quick note that they very recently nerfed the angles because it was apparently a bug. Anyway, I'll put the next clips to show you the angles. Alright, now let's get to a less talked about part of this perk. The flashbang makes a noise when dropped as previously mentioned. Take a listen. From testing, the noise can be heard from 1 to 12 meters away. Something to note is that the chase music is very loud, which significantly helps when you do this. Also, another thing is that the killer moves 4.6 meters a second, of course with some exceptions. So now that you know the line of sight noise, let's get back to the more advanced saves as previously mentioned, which require more knowledge and experience with the bang as you use it more. Let's start off with the most simple one, which is quote on line of sight save, which takes the information you had earlier. The biggest difference is that the killer moves at 3.7 meters, which means that you should throw it at around 8 to 11 meters away. Now let's get to the grab saves, which have a pretty tight timing, but they are pretty often. Now luckily the save is pretty easy. You either look for the second the killer puts the survivor on their shoulder, or you again count one very fast. Now the second hardest is the CJ tag, just because of how situational, not to mention the very little time you have to pull it off. Now the hardest one is definitely the locker save. Luckily you can pull this off on almost any locker, and the timing is very hard because of the split second between you getting the save or not. So you throw the flashbang half a second after you see the aura of the survivor's legs leave the locker. Now let's get to the killer specific saves. Now let's get to the flashbang uses in chase. There are specific killers that are forced to look in a specific direction when they're using their power. For example, Pyramid Head can turn his camera up to avoid a flashbang, which is definitely very useful to know during a chase. Or the more common one being killers like Hillbilly, Wesker, and Blind going forward, which even if you don't get the blind can throw them off guard. which can buy you some time in chase. During a chase, you can both throw the flashbang, and the palace that the killer either has to waste time looking away or get blinded. But if you throw the flash then wait to vacuum, you can get blinded, which is definitely not cool. Perks like Residual Manifest and Champion of Light work on the flashbang, which is amazing to be fair. Flashbang has a secondary effect where it can be used as a loud notification to the killer, like a failed skill check from 128 meters away and no more. Speaking of loud notifications, you can fast vault a locker and exit without a loud notification, which does save a pretty amount of time. So there are plenty of loadouts to help you with the flashbang that I will show on the screen. So this concludes about everything about this tutorial that took me 3 days to make. If you think I missed something, then please leave a comment below. If you learned something new, then I would really appreciate if you liked and subscribed so that this video gets shared across the platform. In the meanwhile, that's all. Thank you and goodbye.